Good morning, everybody. I hope you have your coffee. This is RAGIN with, and we've got a special guest today. He's a rabbi from another planet. What? What planet is this? We'll find out. This is episode 33, RAGIN with. Stay tuned. We've got an intro.
RAGIN.
All right, everybody, wherever it is that you are tuning in from, make sure that you hit the subscribe button. We are simulcasting to Comics and More New Jersey, Geek Insider, RAGIN AVC, as well as Indie Volt. We are RAGIN with, and I'm probably going to massacre his name, Tzvi Lebetkin. All right, here we go. We're going to drop the card.
Got it perfect. Actually, you got my last name was a little bit off, but you got the first name, which nobody gets. Nobody gets that perfectly, absolutely perfectly.
That's awesome, because I have been an invited singer into synagogue for the High Holy Days, so I hope that I got at least that right. But
that's got to be a Reform synagogue, right? The Orthodox synagogues aren't too big on inviting in the shiksas, right?
How are you this morning?
I guess bums on seat, baby. Bums on seat. So whatever gets people in.
I don't even know what to say. Hey, there's Nito. Welcome back. So we love to talk about the creator journey.
Okay.
And I would love to know when comic books came into your life, and then when you decided it was a good idea to create one.
Good question. Okay, so it came into my life, I guess, around age 6, 7, around there. It was, I started reading 2000 AD, which is an anthology comic in English. It's black and white anthology at the time with paper that fell apart, like self-destructed within 3 weeks. It was wonderful. I freaking loved it. It was Prog 261, right? Whatever that date was, it was when I started reading comics. It was right in the middle of this story called The Apocalypse War. Freaking loved it. It was this big. They did these mega epics in Judge Dredd, the story there, the main character. That would go for like 30 weeks, like this is shit, and then it would have these weird individual stories. So that's really what I got into comics. I got because I'm a visual person.
Well, that's
visual
the home
storytelling.
Of Judge Dredd.
Sorry?
That's the home of Judge Dredd.
That is the home of Judge Dredd, indeed. I just kind of fell in love with it. I was into all the geek. I like Doctor Who and Star Trek. So it just seemed to be like a natural segue to get in. My parents didn't realize quite how subversive 2000 AD was. They didn't know it'll turn me into. I put a video out yesterday about Johnny Lydon. I'm still basically the same. Where I was back then. So I kept reading comics. I was really into it, and then by the time the early Vertigo stuff started happening, the British brain drain to America, that stuck me into American comics. I really liked that Alan Moore Swamp Thing when they brought in Justice League into it, and because it was a very mature comic, they were one of the first ones that they did. And then you had the Justice League in. I thought that was really, really cool. I like the idea of a slightly more realistic take on them. I wasn't really because I didn't really grow up with those characters. And then as with DC with Vertigo happened, I was into Sandman and Hellblazer. This was why I was my late teens, early 20s. Then I think when I was was 19. Around 19. A friend of mine was getting married in Israel. I wasn't religious at all. I was this like staunch atheist. They were getting married in Israel. They were religious, and I got an open ticket to come for the wedding. And I ended up staying and becoming religious and becoming a rabbi, right? So that was a bit of a detour. Then
I would say just a tiny detour.
Well, listen, they offered me free food and free accommodation. What can I tell you? I was a sucker, right? They know how to get to the Jews, right?
Yeah, Nina and I were saying, hey, for a cot and 3 square meals, it's like we could go to jail for that.
I mean, no, because I was always kind of open and interested in hearing about other people's philosophies and outlooks and things like that. I never really considered looking at my own. And then in Israel, in the old city of Jerusalem, there's a couple of places set up that's for Jewish education, right? And again, I didn't really know much about it. I said, yeah, I'll go to a class, why not? And I was just kind of impressed. They took me, they basically convinced me very, very quickly, right, to become religious, and I did. And it's stuck my whole life. So, go figure. Anyway, around the 2000s, that's when I first tried to make my first professional comic, and I did 2. I was too scared to do the artwork on them, and so I did. And they only got as far as for the first issue. I just needed a lot more money because, you have to, if you're going independent, you've got to go through Diamond, like the Diamond catalog. And I was trying to put money into advertising, and it just couldn't get there. So then, about 6-7 years ago, my wife buys me. Do I have anywhere? A graphics tablet like this. I got my new one here. I'll hold it up. This thing, it just looks like a black square, right? Mm-hmm. So she got me this thing called a graphics tablet with a pen, and I started using it, and I found digital comics were a lot more forgiving. Like, I would make mistakes a lot. I'm not like a great artist, but I like to write, right? So I'll make mistakes, but digital comics were very forgiving, and I was a graphic artist anyway. So it was very nice. So that's when I started making my own books. And I've been doing it pretty solidly for the last few years. I tried to get into comics the exact millisecond, right? The exact millisecond when they got taken over by crazies. Right? Crazies said, comics mostly are read by 8-year-old boys. They're the last people we want anymore. Nobody gets those anymore. And right. We have Squirrel Girl. So I didn't realize being white and male, would be such a problem. It's a big problem. So I bounced. I did a bunch of books, but I bounced around the outskirts of the comic book industry, and then I stumbled on. Then Doctor Who went awful. Now I've loved Doctor Who all my life, right? And they were bringing out a female Doctor Who, and I was like, yeah, okay, I'll give it a go. I'm open-minded. Why not? And it was awful. It was worse than you could possibly imagine.
Crap you can imagine.
It was unbelievably bad. It wasn't. So, and whenever you went to Facebook or anything, talk about it, you were called a bigot, and people were thrown out of groups. I was like, well, this is weird. This is really weird. And so from there, I found Nerdrodic's channel. Gary, you know Nerdrodic? Gary Beagle? Yeah, it's good. He was a small channel at the time. That was 300,000 subscribers now. So I found his channel, and one of the few places that anybody would talk about it. And from there, I found out about Comicsgate and your boy Zach's case against with Mark Waid. And from there, I found Ethan Van Sciver. And so it seemed pretty clear to me. Firstly, I enjoyed Ethan's streams. I still enjoy this. They're fantastic. But it seemed pretty clear to me, right from the first instance, they developed this just incredible way of independent guys like myself being able to sell comics to people, right? Build up your channel, sell your and lo and behold, it's kind of worked. So that's basically, that's it in a nutshell, I would say.
So beyond the artwork and stuff, what was the biggest challenge for you to create your comic books, though?
Quitting my job. that was a bit.
Oh,
That was a bit
you
of a big
dove
one.
right in.
Oh.
Well, yeah, no, I was. I was doing graphic design and web design, and I mean, I still do. I mean, like, I don't look. Money's money, baby. I'm not going to. If somebody says, "Can you do this for me for like a ridiculous amount of money?" I'll be
God
like,
is
"Yeah,
your
okay."
people.
Yeah, exactly. Although I have to tell you, okay, best people to work for in any religious Christians, they are the best. Okay, they are like they're so understanding and like they are night and day between religious Jews. They are the worst to work for.
Oh my God.
You have to know how to speak their language, but like. Whoa, religious Christians are just so nice. Like, I've never worked for Mormons. I understand they'll be pretty nice too. But anyway, okay, so how did I get there? I forgot. What we
I
talking
have
about?
no idea, but we were talking about like the challenges of creating the comic.
Oh,
book,
challenge,
though.
fine, yeah. So I was doing web design, and I was hating it. I was absolutely hating it. And like I'm a
Soul-crushing,
religious
right?
guy. It is. It's look. I believe in God. I believe there is. We're all valuable, and like we're all like. I believe in all that crap. I genuinely do. So I'm like, this cannot be what God wants me to do with my life, right? This is just this utter relentless misery. Just can't be it. And I thought, well, I do like comics, and I was gagging for a creative outlet. So I put the graphic design website on the back burner and just started making books and then taking on like little jobs so I can make make ends meet. As I went along. But that's essentially how that was my biggest hurdle, right? The biggest hurdle is doing it. The biggest hurdle to doing anything is that first step, right? And the second biggest hurdle is just to keep on going. Just keep it. Those are the two biggest hurdles.
Well, that is the thing that we've been asking a lot of the creators who sit in that chair is at what point did you say that's it? I mean, I think you answered it because, at some point we all have those soul crushing jobs that we need to do, those things that have to be done to make ends meet. And it's like, I mean, I'm a writer and I take on writing jobs and I tell Nita, I'm like, it's a soul crusher. It'll take me all day. Not because the words are hard. Yeah, not because the words are hard, but because it's just not a topic and it's not something that I really want to do, but I got to pay the bills too. And
right.
So getting into this endeavor of creating comic books, not easy. My path is I only started maybe about a year and a half ago with the learning process and scripting out and things like that. And had I done that when I was younger, I don't think that I would be as much enamored with it. I would probably hate the process because it's not easy.
Well, the reason people make comics is because they have to make comics, right? It's like you got to be insane. You just got to have a complete, unshakable insanity that you're gonna still make
See,
comics.
You qualify, Meredith.
I'm sorry.
I said Meredith qualifies.
But I mean, you have to deny reality into that. This is what I'm gonna do. Right. Mm-hmm. And faith is a big thing for me, right? So that's helpful.
Mm-hmm. Now when it comes to reading comics, what are your favorites these days compared to the young Tzvi?
Right. I still like anything by Alan Moore. Although he's got too intelligent for me. Like he's way smarter than me now, and it's a hell of a lot of work to read his work, right? I normally like things a little bit off the beaten track. The Adventures of the Luther Arkwright by Brian Talbot. It's one of my favorite comics. Have you ever seen it?
No.
Oh, beautiful pen. It's like black and white. Or the first volume is black and white. He did it in the late 70s, early 80s. It was really the first adult graphic novel time. It's like a dimension hopping. It started off as a ripoff of Michael Moorcock's Cornelius, and very quickly grew into its own thing. Right, so I like that. I like who else worked? Grant Morrison. I just got his Green Lantern run first book of that. I want to check it out. So I like things like The Invisible, The Filth I really liked as well. What else? I liked Authority and Planetary. Planetary was a beautiful book, John Castiart. Powers was great, and then I bought the final volume of it, and it's unreadably bad. I have no idea what happened to Brian Michael Bendis essentially got into this insane woke culture, and his talent just leaked out his ears. Like that, the same. Like I think one of the best comics ever written was Alias, the first Jessica Jones run, because you had like again like mature, intelligent plots, but in the background you had like superheroes fighting, right? And it was good. It was really, really cool, and that's where they really missed out, I think, on the Netflix show of it, right? There was no placing it in that Marvel Cinematic Universe, which would have been fantastic if she was doing all the ground level stuff, street level stuff, and then in the background you see Captain America. That would have been great, but they were seeming very po-faced about the powers. So I like that. David Lapland, I like quite a lot of his stuff. Actually, why don't I just look? One second, I'll look at my shelf. I'll look at my shelf and I'll tell you. So Planetary, Authority. Oh, Daredevil. I do like. I liked both Bendis's and Frank Miller's run on Daredevil. What else we got over there? DMZ, Doom Patrol.
Nice.
What's his name? Brian Azzarello. Loved it. Loved 100 Bullets. And his run on Hellblazer.
Like the anti-hero kind of.
Yeah, I guess yes. That's a
little dark.
I love the dark
and the
comics.
dark. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We love the dark comics too. So when you were kind of putting these together, like from then and now, what have you found that these days, because you were saying something about the digital, doing things digitally, it's easier and things like that. When it came to marketing your books and stuff, going to crowdfunding sites, I mean, they didn't exist not too long ago.
Well, they did. I mean, they've been around for a good 10, 15 years, but they were not. It was still. It didn't. I mean, I did a campaign before it became big, and I got funded. But still, it was the. Just in general, the technology today makes so much more possible. Like, for example, for my campaign, I'm printing in the UK, the US, Australia, and Canada. So I get local shipping in most places. And the reason you can do that is because you've got like these incredible. You can print on demand. You can print as low as one copy. And basically, it becomes cost effective at 10, right? And at that point, you're saving money on shipping. And I just hate somebody in Canada spending like $30 on a book that costs 20, right, to get in there. It's crazy. And even though they will do it, I just think it's wrong, right? I just think it's wrong.
Yeah, I mean, because there are people who, they kind of grew up with comic books, and, you talk about the Xerox machine and sending it to your friends. Comic cons, you keep the sales really very local. But now, because of the internet, because of crowdfunding, because of the ability to send your files digitally and get them printed locally, you have an international market.
Right.
What has for the listeners who are kind of walking this path maybe for the first time, what would you say would be the best bit of advice when it comes to creating and marketing their book?
Marketing is much harder than creating, right? Creating, again, if you're an artist, you're an artistic person, it kind of just, it's hard to keep it in, right? Mm-hmm. I honestly, if I had a bunch of artists, I could be putting out books like geez, no end of books. But marketing I find much harder because I think most artists are quite genuine about their work, especially work that's personal to them. This it's not work for hire, and so it's a bit of themselves, right? And people are like, firstly, people are scared to put themselves out there for rejection, right? That's like a basic human terror that people have. And I just find it's pushing through the fear, and being methodical, right? Be like just say, you have to, like, for me anyway, I have to have like a time and day every day where I go on Twitter, where I go and talk, where I go and connect with people. Beforehand, though, it was much harder when I was trying to get people to review my books. That was really tough, right? You just got to keep up, and it was still. I got great reviews, but like not many sales. It's really, I get the creation of a YouTube channel that makes all the difference, because most people buy things because they have a connection with you, or some kind of personal connection, and rather than they actually want it, especially if they've never read it before, right? So I think that's why. This whole like YouTube thing. I hope it lasts. I know, who knows what's going to happen with weird tech censorship and the purge and
yeah, right.
You know what's funny is that the best guests take the best questions, because I was just about to ask you without being asked, because I was going to ask you about your YouTube channel. Like, when did you decide that YouTube was a good platform? You've got a really good following there. Right. You've got very good viewership and things. What was the thing that got you to say, I need a mic and I'm getting in front of the camera and let's do this?
If you've got a computer, you've got everything built in. You're just like, you're ready to go. And like, oh, thank God I can talk, right? That's one of the few things I know how to do well. I can talk about pretty much anything non-stop, which is what you need for a YouTube. And also, I like being honest, which I think is really good for a YouTube channel. Like, people can smell BS a million miles away. Mm-hmm. And I'm very opinionated, so it kind of like it all kind of gelled together. So it seemed to be like, why wasn't I? The reason I started was, again, this channel Nerdronic was always encouraging people to start their own channels, and he's absolutely right. We need the more voices we have, the better. We're not in competition, right? That's incredible. We are all like dovetailing together. So. That was on my mind. And again, I saw Ethan Van Sciver and the success he had with that first Cyber Frog, and I your boy Zach with his, and I put two and two together. Said, you build a following, you can have people read your books, and I was like, I want people to read my books. So that's basically what happened with that.
Now, do me a favor and talk a little bit about not in competition, because there are a lot of people who believe that we are.
It's disgusting.
We're not. That's the more people reading comics, the more likely you are to sell comics. When somebody does well, and look, basically, it's a good advice for life to take happiness in somebody else's success, right? Like what again? Ethan Van Sciver is doing his action figures now. And I would love to do that, right? I can see where the jealousy comes from. I would love to be in a position where I could do that. But I'm so thrilled that he is, right? It gives you hope to everybody. Right, and it's like we all love comics. We all love comics, and comics, like everything else, have been hijacked. Hijacked for a very, very weird, diversive political agenda that most people aren't really on board with when they think it through at all. And that's why they really want to stop you thinking about it anyway, right? So, and I just love the medium. So I want to make more stuff in there because, I think we are the future of comics. And if we don't know, there won't be comics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's so many people that we've met, again, in the chair. They've been really cool. They're not in competition with anybody. They just want to get to work. They want to create the books that are in their head. And oftentimes they say that they are competing against themselves. And of course, you see a little bit of jealousy.
That's the person to compete against. Every book I do, I try and make it different or better than the one I've done beforehand. I think I've been reasonably successful at that.
It's really hard, though, because, when you are running a campaign, then all of a sudden you see somebody who's doing so much better. It's like, what are they doing? What are they doing that I'm not doing? My campaign looks better. My book looks better, blah, blah, blah. What do you think
what you do is you look at it. You look at it and work out how they're doing, right? There's a campaign that just launched. What's the name of the channel? The book's called Mavericks, and it's doing very, very well. It got to like $8,000. It got over $8,000 in the first couple of days.
Wow.
And my campaign is wrapping up. That's basically where it is, right? But it got there. So I reckon I'll get about 16, maybe 20. And the reason it did is because they waited and they waited and they waited and they built up their channel and they built up their channel. And I just didn't have it in me to wait anymore, you know, like I had to just want to get going. But that patience is the key to everything, which I just don't have much. That's principle. I just don't have much patience.
Me neither. Meredith has super patience.
I am a very patient person. I try so much.
You're too patient.
Because, you know, at the end of the day, most creators are busy. They want to create. And so they're not even thinking about building up their network. They're not thinking about doing the YouTube channel. Mm-hmm.
That's really it. I mean, it's more important than making a book. Again, making the book's the easy bit. It really is. That's the crazy. Making the book is the easy bit. Everything else around it, I think lettering's a bit of a pain in the ass, but like nothing is as bad as marketing.
Now, when you're doing your books, do you do everything? Are you doing the writing, editing, lettering? You just mentioned art.
I always, if I start making money, I will hire a letterer. But normally I letter the books because what I do is I do another edit when I come to do the lettering, because you write the script. And I write very specific scripts. I do the panel breakdowns and the sound effects and have everything there on the page. But when you go and put it on, you have to react to the artwork. And even if you did the artwork, so there's not something else. Even if you did the artwork, sometimes it just doesn't go, and you need an extra bubble there or this here or that there. So I do like that extra layer of editing. It depends on the book. Like some books, I did hire an editor, basically because my spelling was atrocious. Yeah, I had to hire an editor for this one, which let me just pull it out. So this is a massive failure. This was a massive failure. This is so this thing was a religious book, right? A religious book for religious Jewish kids, and I had it in English on one side. You turned it around, and it was in Hebrew. So I had to lettering it in Hebrew is so freaking hard because the pages you read from right to left. So you got to if I did I did the panels in a specific way. So I had to keep the panels in the same order, but flip them around, and then to do the Hebrew. This was a ton of work to do.
So with the Hebrew version, I'm kind of curious then, with the Hebrew version as a flip book, you probably didn't need to flip the book, just turn it over, yes?
Yeah, exactly. You went Hebrew, English. You go over, and I just thought it would be a thing that really took off. Not at all. I needed if I had an extra to launch this, I think I needed an extra $150,000 in advertising. And if I had that, it would have been a mass market thing. But I didn't, So then, and it was right after that I found a comics game. I'm like, well, that might work. It's like, have you ever seen or read the book about Ray Kroc, the guy who founded McDonald's?
Yes.
So he failed at everything over and over again all through his life, right? And each time he failed, he would learn something from it. He said, I needed more advertising. I needed this here, there. Until eventually he hit McDonald's. And what it was, if you ever saw the movie, it was great with, what's the name? Batman, Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
It was basically, again, another Jew. It was a Jewish lawyer who says, the money's in owning owning the land. Right? And it was and he was right. That's how he became a billionaire.
But with the success of your campaign that you have here, and it's in demand right now, we're going to get to that after the break. Have you thought about going back to some of your older stories and relaunching?
Well, these two are my older stories. I started this campaign to run in the background sort of thing while I was working on my new book, which I'm about 50, 60 pages into now. So I wanted to have that coming quick. But the campaign ran longer than I planned. I wanted to go to fulfillment in about June, May, June. And it's going to be, look, I'm sending it as a printer this week. It's the end of days. Okay, it's the end of the campaign. I got to finish it. But it's going to still be August. But I figure it's not so crazy for a first campaign.
No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But what about Hagabor?
Well, I don't know because that's for a very specific market. You've got to get to religious Jewish kids, and there is a whole bunch of politics around that, right? There is which I'm not. I mean, I was into it to a certain extent, but I'm not really a fan of politics or politicians, and I don't really like the professional lying. Being a politician is such a scummy profession. It's the only profession that's so low. You have to become a lawyer as an entry point to get in.
Oh my. Well, we are at the 30-minute mark. We've got a little bit of a break. We're going to get back here with Tzvi Lebetkin.
That's right.
Okay, did I say it right this time?
All right, you got it this time.
It is episode 33. We are raging with. We're going to be right back after this. If I can find it. There we go. Hey there. This is Meredith Loughran with Ragin'. And I wanted to let you know that we encourage and promote independent creators and their projects through organic interaction, consultations, and more. Visit Nita and me at RAGINAVC.com for details and contact information. Hit the button. And if you are tuning in live, make sure that you hit the subscribe button. We are simulcasting to Comics and More New Jersey, Geek Insider, Indie Vault, as well as Ragin' ABC. Hit the button, for goodness sake. And also, if you are into comics, you're shipping comics, you want to make sure that your comics are protected, use a Gemini mailer. You can go to GeminiComicSupply.com and use coupon code VOLT10 for a 10% discount on your Gemini mailers. That's right. Coupon code VOLT10 will get you a 10% discount on your Gemini mailers. Thank you to Indie Vault for supplying that. Varian Grant, a little shout out to you. We are talking to Tzvi Lebetkin. He is the rabbi from another planet. We still haven't figured out what planet that is, but this is episode 33. We're going to drop the card and welcome him back. Hello.
Hello. Well, I'm glad to be welcomed back. But
exactly what planet is this?
Okay, you don't want to know. Like I'm going to say, I have talked about it on other people's channels. You don't want to know. You don't want to know. It's a dirty place.
Really dirty.
Well,
it's a really pretty smutty place. I wouldn't recommend.
We love smut.
I wouldn't recommend anybody else visiting.
You remember that book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus? I was just like, I always wanted to be on Mars. I'm like, that's where the men are.
Word.
And we are back. We are going to bring up your campaign here. Hold on a second. Let me make sure that I've got this up. And I was thinking about playing the video.
You can if you want, but I can just talk you through it if you want, which I think is a little bit more effective.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to kind of like voice over, because I saw a lot of the art that's in there, which I think is important. People really love to see the interiors and things.
If you want, I got the file. I'll show you the whole thing.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. Hey, if you want to do your share screen, but you are in demand.
I'm screen right now.
In demand on Indiegogo. We've got the links in the show notes, so wherever it is you're tuning in from. We've also got the rabbi's social media links, so make sure you follow him everywhere. Just don't peek in his windows because that's weird.
Just a little creepy.
You know what? You can peek in my windows. You're not going to see anything interesting happening.
But now
listen.
He's a holy man, Meredith. He's not you.
Samaria to look into my windows. It's a bit of a trek.
You have to watch out for those holy people.
Yes.
I know plenty of them. Okay.
Yes. Keep this. Although the thing I think of most note that happened recently in my little town, it was during that brief war we had a few months ago. It was on Saturdays are Sabbath, So like when everybody's like offline and people are, so I was laying down. And everybody else was out, right? Everybody else, I wasn't feeling well, so I was laying down on bed, and everybody else had gone out to a friend. I hear a siren go off, right? I'm like, well, I should really go to the bomb shelter, or I should really do something. I shouldn't just ignore it. So the siren's going off, and then all of a sudden, the siren starts going off from my wife's phone next to the bed. I'm like, well, that's probably important. That's probably quite urgent, right? So I should think about it. So then I sat up, and I was trying to decide, am I going to go to the roof to watch, or am I going to go to the bomb shelter in my basement? I was like, no. And then boom! I hear this like massive boom, like 50 meters from my house. Was it a Hamas missile? Like hits the waist ground. Like I was like, oh man, I could have been outside and seen it, but I just missed it.
Yeah, that's kind of
that's the most interesting thing that happened of late.
Yeah,
that's kind of weird. That hey, do I want to just like go out with fireworks, or do I want to survive this thing?
Well, listen, look. There's a lot of space. There's only a little you. Yeah, you got to be pretty unlucky for one of those things to hit you.
I don't know. I had a really close call with lightning. So.
Oh well, listen. That's probably more random than a missile. I'm not sure, but okay.
Well, we're glad that you're okay. But you've got two titles here.
Right, two books. It's the Imperium. I wrote this one. Dominic Ratcho did the art on it. The Imperium is a love letter to telefancy of the 1960s. Basically, imagine James Bond, Emma Peel. This is me. Hang on, I'll go to it. 1 second. Mm-hmm. There you go. Imagine James Bond, Emma Peel from the Avengers, Doctor Who, the Black Slab from 2001, and a monkey in a spacesuit, all in one fantastic super group together. There's a bit of prisoner action in it as well. Some Thunderbirds. Everything you love about the era is here. The funny thing is how I got them all together. Again, it's a bit of a reality bending narrative. Just gorgeous artwork by Dominic Ratcho, and he did all the extras that you get with the campaign if you get both books. Do you want to look at those next, or do you want to look at the other book?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I definitely want to go through the campaign. So what you've got, you give us the tour.
Okay, fine. So the other book is called Biblical Bible Stories for Atheists, Creationists, Rationalists and Rogues. Now I wrote and did the artwork on this one. So and you can you can see this is me learning how to do comics. This is very, very, very biblically accurate and not preaching in any way, shape, or form. I listen. I like people agreeing with me. I don't need anybody to adopt my worldview to feel good about myself. Right? It's a story, right? It's a story. There'll be bits in it that you recognize, like the Tower of Babel, the flood, maybe Jonah. The best character in it is the Raven. I relate to him very well. And it's one like huge narrative that spans several thousand years. About 1,000 years, right? And it's all one seamless narrative talking about the nature of mercy and reality and kindness. I would say with a lot of like hacking and slashing, and, violence, eyes being torn out, and this is my favorite addition to this. This is a page this is Jonah who's sitting under a tree. I made sure he was sitting under a giant weed bush, so you can see this.
I noticed that, and I love the Raven with the eyeball.
Right, well,
absolutely love that. It's one of my favorites.
That's a big plot point. That's all. That's about King Nimrod, who built the Tower of Babel, which was essentially, This is a good example of what I do with this book. Like most people idea of Bible is. It stops at the age of 3, right? Most people's religious education stops here, and so they grow older, and they, you develop maturity in every subject apart from this, and you think it's a bunch of children's stories. So, case in point, Tower of Babel. Tower of Babel, on the surface, is the most ridiculously stupid story. So you got people, they decide they want to make war with God, and so they're going to build a tower to climb up to heaven and kill him. Now, that's just a stupid plan. That plan isn't good. Even ancient man isn't going to be able to go like, oh yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, no, it's a bad idea. So the more you know about it, the weirder it gets. So they build it in the in the valley of this place called Sinar. Rather than if you want to get to heaven, better build at the top of a mountain. They build it out of bricks, and that's actually an important part of the narrative. They build it out of bricks, which is a weaker substance than like mining stone. Again, none of it really makes sense. So the idea behind it is that the valley in which it was built was the sinkhole for the world, where all the waters from the flood went through, right? So that was essentially like an apocalyptic event. And so this guy, King Nimrod, he had this idea that he believed in God, but he thought that what God wanted was you to be strong and cruel. Again, he wanted to emulate God that way. So he hated the idea of there being a loving God. And that's what this tower was, a monument to an evil, cruel God. And that's why it was made out of bricks that were made of the remains of the dead from an entire generation. It was a monument to the opposite of biblical values, or as we call it today, Washington. So yeah, that's and also I want to point out here, I was really happy with this new cover. I got some really nice collage going on there. So it all came out quite nicely.
Well, let me ask you something really quickly though. If there's one thing that I've learned while studying comic books and marketing, all ages is difficult.
Oh, yeah.
Religion has got to be near impossible.
Yeah. I mean, listen. Well, there are a lot of religious people in the Comicsgate crowd. It skews more right wing anyway, right? And honestly, I think when you really get down to it, this cultural divide that we have in the world right now really boils down to: are you okay with traditional biblical values, or do you hate them? Like, most people don't want to adopt them, but they're okay with it. They see there's something. But if you hate them, you're on that side of the aisle, right? And everything comes out from that. But the other thing that's also wrong, you shouldn't do in campaign, is do 2 books, right? Just do 1 book, right? That's the plan. But I wanted to try and like brand myself so that some people know when you get one of my books, they're going to get a good, interesting read, like something meaty that they would be happy that they purchased. But yeah, honestly, it's religious books normally fail because they're preachy. They're trying to convince people to adopt that worldview. Again, if you're actually a religious person, you don't really want to do that. I mean, if somebody asks me about religion, I'll tell them, but I'm not like a preachy guy in general.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I feel it's counterproductive.
We've talked to Luke Stone before, and
he's been on my channel.
Yeah, I mean, and he says that a lot of people, when they try to put out a religious book, that it's all nicey nice, and it's crap. And he says that there are really dark stories.
There's a lot of violence going on here.
Yeah, that there's a lot of dark in it.
Nice. He said biblically accurate. If you've read the Bible, it's not nice.
So
I'll share the actual book because I have a cameo in it. I play Truth. There we go. One second, let me find it. Hang on, just find the right page. There we go. So this one I
love that this is like Bible Stories for Atheists, Creationists, Rationalists, and Rogues. I'm like, maybe I should send one to my mother, because my mother loves to talk about the Bible. I know she's read it, but any kind of like theology, I think, is out the window. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, no. Yeah, listen, I look. A lot of people have a bunch of like negative. Negative impressions about religion, because oftentimes you have an arsehole trying to teach it who wants to need your validation, right? It's because they don't really believe it. Oh yeah, so this is like an extra strip I added in for the first campaign. It's this is called a midrash, which is it's like a parable. It's like apocrypha. So before the universe is created, God calls people together, different elemental forces together, and asks if it's a good idea. So this is him calling Truth, right? And Truth is a bit of a dick, which makes a lot of sense to me. So Truth is like, this is a freaking awful idea, right? You're gonna get like these animals, and you're gonna put a soul in them. They're gonna be at war with themselves, and they're just going to do terrible things over and over again. And I do like freaking out a bit. I do like the whole like screaming thing. So then, I talk a little about like all the much hypocrisy in the world that's done in the name of truth and religion. So then God says, you know what? You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And he takes truth and he throws him down to earth, right? Goes down, flows down to earth, and then hits bottom, right? And then the point of the story is truth breaks into a bazillion pieces, and those bazillion pieces break into a bazillion pieces, right? And they get into every philosophy in the world, everything that exists, everything that can stand has truth within it. So that's the basic idea of that little story. But yeah, that because I want to make stories that I find interesting for grown-ups. That's essentially what it is, without without preaching to you guys. In fact, you should know it's actually if somebody comes to a Jewish guy and says, or person says, I want to convert. What you're supposed to do is say, "Are you crazy?" Right. Do you like being hated by everyone? If not, Judaism might not be for you.
It's not an easy topic, and again, that speaks to the comic book industry, that nobody really likes to be preached at, right?
Oh, but that's all you get in comics now is preaching. It's
right. And see, I love a good storyline. I want a story. I want an arc. I want something that immerses me into a world. I don't want to be bonked on the head.
And sometimes I just want to escape too. Mm-hmm. I don't need to be pushed what's going on in the real world all the fucking time. Fuck that.
Yeah, that's always something to avoid the real world, especially right now. Right. Anyway, so if you get both books, there's a bunch of extras you get. We get first you get this thing. It's I call this Noble Savages. It's by Dominic Racho. He did all the artwork on the extras. This is going to be an A2 poster, which is 18 by 24. I just supersized it. It was a pin-up. Now it's a poster. This, if you don't know, is the lovely Leela from Doctor Who, 1970s Doctor Who, with Raquel Welch from 1 million years BC. In the background, we have the Time Machine. In the foreground, we have K9 from Doctor Who in the 70s as well.
Part.
Yeah. So why are they all together? What's going on? Who cares, baby? Who cares? This is going on in my head all the time. I made it real for you, okay? I've given you that shortcut. You don't need to Photoshop it for yourself. It's all there for you. But wait, there's more. So I have a series of cards I call For the Male Gaze. For the Male Gaze. These are based on my 12-year-old masturbatory fantasies, and they work as well today as they did 30 or 40 odd years ago.
I'm seeing shades of 007 in there.
Well, exactly. Well, they're all genre related. This one's called Keeping the British End Up. Yeah, this is a very James Bond deal. I do like the movement he's got on the figure, right? Actually, you get the feeling that she's turning quickly. And the underwear, he got it. The lingerie is perfect, right? He nailed that 110%. Keeping the British End Up is the last line in the best James Bond movie, Spy Love Me. Scientists have worked that out. That is the absolute best James Bond movie. There's nothing to argue about that. Fine. So we got that one. If you like a bit of Space 1999, a 70s sci-fi show from Jerry Anderson, who used to do the puppet shows Thunderbirds. This was his second live-action show. They wore more clothes than this in real life. Not in my head, unfortunately.
I have to ask something though, because people are like, "You are really a rabbi," and they might be like, oh, "Rabbi, I'm clutching my pearls now."
I will tell you exactly why I'm doing this, because there is an assault on normative heterosexuality, right? Normative heterosexuality is under attack, and honestly, look, sex is part of life, right? Sex and titillation is part of life. It's was it who was on the stream with Indie Princess who did furry stuff, right?
Daphne Lage.
That right. I got to get on my channel because I would love to talk about that more. But listen, the question they teach you when you're becoming a rabbi is, people always ask you, Rabbi, is sex dirty? And the answer is, only if you're doing it right, baby. Only if you're doing it right. But the function of sex is from a religious perspective, more than having children, is to bond people together. So I basically, whatever you want to do within a loving relationship, I think it's a good idea. If you're going to do something that's a bit different, a bit weird, and you find a partner up for it, fantastic. Again, the furry stuff has never appealed to me, right? I'm like, I don't really get the whole dressing, but listen, if it turns you on, that's actually a holy thing, according to me, right? You should enjoy your sex life with your partner. I think that's God, basically, from my opinion, God wants us to be happy, right? And sex is a very pleasurable part of life with a lot of happiness built in. Speaking of happiness, let me go on to the next slide. This one I call "Don't Even Think It, Citizen." Have you ever seen Judge Dredd? Oh, you know Judge Dredd. So this is Judge Anderson, and she's a side judge. She can read your mind. That's why the name of the card is "Don't Even Think It, Citizen." I don't want to zoom in a little bit because the artwork is just so freaking good. I like, it's a little bit cold in the early morning, Mega City One Air, but Judge Anderson is a professional, and she's there to protect and serve. And thank you for your service. I was going to say. So this next one, I call "No Hanky Panky in the TARDIS." So this has defined my life to associate. This is the companion Doctor Who in the early 80s. So this is a screen accurate costume. They squeeze this poor young woman into spandex. I mean, literally into spandex. I got an action figure here. I got two action figures here, actually. They squeeze her into spandex, right? In the exact moment, the exact millisecond, my puberty exploded. And she's ever since then, she's been trapped like General Zod, in my spank bank. Like, I can't get it. And I feel bad for her. She's a real human being. But like, I'm a human being. I can't get that out of my head. It's going to be there forever. No hanky panky in the TARDIS. Another source of sweaty, insomnia at night is, of course, oh my, it's Councillor Troy. I'm sensing strong emotions, Captain. I'm sensing. Yes, you're sensing them from my pants, baby. That's what's happening. We don't know what's happened to the environmental controls on the Enterprise. We're not sure. We're just glad that they're out of whack and they've had to take all their clothes off to survive. Why are they doing it? Why not, baby? Why not? And the final one, which I added on for no reason whatsoever, other than I love my backers. And I tell them we're going to do another card. Is this next one, which I think basically everybody has been thinking about since 1983. The Force is female, and I think it's very good, very important to appropriate these terms. The Force is female, and if we zoom in a little bit, we'll see it's just so incredibly female, right? So unbelievably female. Princess Leia looks so happy and contented. She doesn't have to worry about the revolution anymore. Doesn't have to worry about fixing snow speeders. Her life's fine. She's just in Jabba's shagging palace. Jabba looks happy. Bib Fortuna not interested. Silencey Crumb, gonna get crazy, baby. Gonna get crazy. So that's I'm going to continue this series with my next campaign.
Yes.
I'm sorry?
Incredible.
The details.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. It's fantastic. So I'm totally continuing this series in my next campaign. I think we're going to do a Barbarella.
Fun.
Yeah, I got a bunch of them lined up. I keep promising to do a guy one as well for the ladies or for the gay people who want to get one. I just every time I come up with one, I'm like, no, we have to see this first. So anyway, but wait, there's more. I think I'm going to throw one of these posters into the main package as well if you get both books. Either this one, A Bohemian in Time and Space. The great thing about Dominic, he's never seen Doctor Who, and he just nails it every time.
Wow.
And this one, The Eyes Have It. Just great art. We got this one. Great Balls of Fire, and this one I think is a little bit sweet. I call it Forever Young. Imagine the Fourth Doctor and Sarah Jane, his companion, just growing old together in the TARDIS. I just love that idea. I think there's a perfect reality where they're still flying around together.
So I'm gonna hazard a guess that you are a Legend of the Traveling TARDIS Doctor Who fan.
I know Legend of the Traveling. It's been on my channel. I do know Legend of the Traveling TARDIS.
Behind him, Meredith.
Yeah, I know. I was being facetious.
But there are no.
Who is your favorite Doctor then?
Whichever one I'm watching, apart from the current one, who isn't the Doctor. Okay, just a quick aside. What's wrong with Doctor Who now? Okay, the Doctor needs to be a massive authority, like the person knows the most about anything going on.
Not a whiny bitch.
Yeah, she's a whiny, but also be anti-authoritarian, right? That they're the two things that the Doctor needs to be. This one is a massive conformist and a moron. I mean, like, yeah, they made such a big deal about it. It's the first female doctor. I was up for the idea. Why can't they make her good?
I was up for the casting choice too when they announced it. I was like, yeah. That'll work.
I like to attack the block. I was fine with it. Was it one last thing I want to throw in? We got if you want to go crazy, we can get one of these cards. These are hand drawn, bespoke to whatever you want. These are trading card size, and you get both books. And you get everything when you get one of these things. Nice. So you can get those, or if you want to get super crazy, check this out. Right, Dominic will make them 3D for you. This is just crazy. And I think we've got a couple of these orders right now, and then this one I love. Check out this Infinity Gauntlet. And you also get to see how big it is as well. Like the detail he gets into this is fantastic.
Do those do those light up?
Yeah, well, this way, if you want them to, they'll make them light. He'll do whatever you want.
Holy crap, that's fucking awesome!
It is, and again, anything you want, bespoke, he will make for you. I can attest that because I keep giving him stuff to do that he's never heard of before, and he keeps knocking it out the park. Right, totally knocking it out the park. There you go.
That is amazing.
I love this line, man.
That is just mind-blowing is what that
I wouldn't even know, like, because you can't just put that in a binder with your other.
You can't put it.
No, this is artwork. You frame it. You put it.
You'd have to go buy one of them 3-dimensional.
Well, this one you can get a little stand for it for these ones.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
that is amazing.
Yeah, they're very cool.
Now those are tiers on your campaign.
Yeah. So the I think it's 150 for the regular one, the one of these ones, and then 200 or 250 for these. I really can't remember. And then if you want to buy in the artwork, I got a bunch of that for sale as well.
That is really amazing. Now, so you are in demand, but not for long. When do you plan on closing?
This is closing out this week. I got less than a week to go. I'm sending off. Honestly, between you and me, I'm keeping in demand till they actually start printing. Okay, but I'm telling everybody I'm done by this week because you got to generate a sense of urgency. And I really don't know when the cutoff's going to be. So whatever, if you're still late and you want to squeeze one in, I reckon we can. I'm probably going to overprint by about 20% anyway. But that's the plan.
Nice. We're looking forward to it. I mean, the artwork here is amazing with these little cards. The artwork in the interiors of both of your books are great. So we've got the Imperium, and we've got Biblical. And
there you go.
So going to your campaign here, I'm seeing the Imperium here, a love letter to the classic British telefantasy of the 1960s. And, of course, Biblical, Bible Stories for Atheists, Creationists, Rationalists, and Rogues.
I think that covers everybody. But on more than one level. Let's try and give it a general sell. Which one are you? Which one are you? All of them?
My question, I do have a question, though. I noticed at the top of the campaign, your location is listed as United States. So is that you're shipping within the U.S.?
I'm shipping within the US, the UK, Australia, and Canada.
Sweet.
I'm printing within all 4 locations.
Awesome.
So keep local shipping.
Nice. Okay. Cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I appreciate that because it is a lot of times when you see like shipping overseas or you see a different symbol, instead of the dollar sign, it's like, okay, right. Is that going to be
his is in USD.
Cost prohibitive? Right. Yeah. So it is really important to do that. Tzvi, we are at our hour.
Already? That was quick.
Already. I mean, that went by really fast. For anybody who's tuning in.
You're not the first lady to say that to me, let me tell you.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
Wow, Meredith.
I'm proud that people can time a soft-boiled egg by me.
It has been a pleasure talking to you about your campaign, your creator's journey. If you were to give the newbies coming up one piece of advice, what might that be?
Come on my channel. Come on my channel. I'll look at your work. Well, I do an indie comic show every Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern. It's like 9:30, 9 o'clock for me in the evening. But look, just don't stop. Start and don't stop. That's the key to moving forward. Start and don't stop. And just get whatever fear you have. It's okay to be. Everybody's okay. Being brave isn't not having fear. Everybody has fear, right? Everybody is full of different fears. It's being controlled by them or not is what bravery is. And then you just got to be brave. That's basically what it is. You got to be brave. And people are going to tell you things you don't want to hear. And people are going to be mean. And things are going to... It doesn't matter. Believe in your work and nothing else matters.
That is a great way to end the show. For anybody tuning in, again, make sure that you hit the subscribe button. Also, get over to his channel. We have the link to his YouTube channel in the show notes and his other social media, as well as the link to Indiegogo, the Rabbi from Another Planet Comics Bonanza on Indiegogo. Support it today because he's closing it out very soon. Do not miss out on this. Tzvi Lebetkin, we appreciate you for being here.
You're still getting it right. You're 3 for free.
We appreciate you for being here. Nita.
Yo.
Final words.
Throw my dudes.
We're out of here, you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Bye-bye.